Welcome back, Truth Seeker. February 28th, 2023, the last day of Black History Month. And one of CNN's top stories is this: 1 in 4 black transgender youth attempted suicide in past year, survey finds. And keep in mind, big story yesterday from CNN was how Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union are the parents of the year for promoting their child's transition from a young boy to a young girl, from Zion to Zaya. So CNN just promoting to young black youth yesterday the importance of recognizing, why we should be so accepting of young people doing things just like this, identifying as transgender, wanting to switch their gender, and then the very next day, 1 in 4 teens who did this also tried to kill themselves in the last year. And remember, in the last year, they rolled out the suicide hotline. And this is actually something we've been talking about for years, how they're pushing, the idea of transgender being a cool thing to experiment with, to try out, and it being a known fact that transgender people have the highest rates of suicide. And again, I'm going to continue to make the point. It's annoying that Google takes down videos like this for hate speech when it's anything but. It's more like life prevention. Again, from so many different angles, they're promoting agendas that relate to population control. And, one of the most outspoken people on the need for population control in recent years is Bill Gates. For the last decade, Bill Gates has been talking about how we need to reduce the population to solve climate change. And think about everything that's being promoted, right? Homosexuality. How's that work out with population control? Last time I checked, 2 women don't really produce children. 2 men don't really produce children. Transgender, if you're getting rid of your genitals, you're definitely not going to be producing any children. Go out and get the experimental poke. Uh-oh, sorry about the myocarditis. We didn't see that coming. Et cetera, et cetera. Just the whole culture of, living in front of a screen, being separate from other people, porn, all the stuff going on. It all factors into one agenda: population control. And, when it came to the pokedoke, what community did they tell to get it first? If you were a darker complected person, you were most at risk. You needed to get the jab first. And then, of course, the first vaccinated American was a black woman, Sandra Lindsay, on the anniversary of Sandy Hook. Go figure. But here we are. Black trans lives matter on the last day of Black History Month. And it is the 59th day of the year. And if you're new here, learn Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. It'll start to make a lot more sense why Black History Month is the month that ends on the 59th day of the year, and why Motown came out in 59, and why this number comes up so often in headlines just like this. If you're new here, Gematria, Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. It's as simple as A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters 26. If you add up the letters of slave, it equates to 59. Negro, 59. Rasta, 59. Blues, 59. There are other slightly more complicated ciphers. There's something known as Jewish Gematria, or Latin Gematria as it's now being called. I guess that's the more politically name for Jewish Gematria, more politically correct name. But in that cipher, kill equals 59. So just think about this story on the 59th day of the year. Is this an accident? Is this an accident? Or is this programming for the sake of an agenda where the news is coming across as sympathetic after just yesterday this same news station was promoting why this is something you should support for your very own children? So the other very familiar pattern is transgender in 53. Today's date numerology is 53. Transgender equals 53. The first transgender person on record was Christine Jorgensen, who was born on 5/30, who died on May 3rd, 5/3. Again, we're talking about transgender in 53 all the time. Who can forget when Bruce Gender graced the cover of Vanity Fair, which equals 53 does Vanity Fair. But Dwayne Wade's child, who was the promotion yesterday, Zaya, 53. So, and by the way, this story right here, this was published February 11th, 2020. 2 plus 11 plus 20 plus 20, a date with 53 numerology. Go figure. And that was also in Black History Month 2 years ago. Actually, wow, time flies, 3 years ago. But another pattern, just black and suicide, right? Two words that share the 34 gematria. A year ago, on the 34th day of the year, there was a young black actor who supposedly committed suicide. He played a zombie on The Walking Dead. Zombie also equals 34. And then another thing that's interesting about this is today, 2/28, is also the 228th day of the new National Suicide Prevention Hotline. And just to show you how, again, everything that the government and media does every single day is by the numbers. When they released that hotline on July 16th, it was the day leaving 168 days left in the year, and its name is National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which equals 168. But from its release until today, the 228th day of its existence on 228, in Gematria, United States of America is 228, so is Martin Luther King Jr., the only born American with a holiday named after him, and he got that because he died. One of those other, a little bit more complicated ciphers is Sumerian Gematria. We just multiply the alphabetic order times 6. Death is 228. MLK had to die to get that holiday named after him. And again, this story is about death. It's about Black death on the last day of Black History Month, on a day where the numbers relate to death. And again, the media doesn't say back to your regularly scheduled programming by accident. They're programming people for the sake of controlling people, for the sake of agendas that are put on by the ruling class, which almost no one in this nation is a member of. Almost all of us are those who are ruled over, the same people that need to be able to cooperate and communicate, which would be easy to do, you would think, in the age of information with cell phones and internet and things like YouTube. But realize, for people like me sharing videos like this, I'm getting taken down, I'm getting deleted, I'm getting demonetized, I'm getting told I'm a hate speaker. I can't tell you how many videos I've lost just like this that were labeled hate speech, when all I was trying to do was point out, is there an ulterior motive here? Just like when I told people way before the COVID jabs came out, you better think twice. You better go back and listen to what Bill Gates said at his 2010 TED Talk. He said we need to reduce population, and he gave a number of ways to do it. But his very first way to reduce population was if we do a good job with jabs. And of course, he comes from Seattle, the land of the world's biggest needle, which is directly across the street from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who likes to do a lot of experimentation with their jabs over in Africa, where the predominant population is black. So, look at Bill Gates with his big old grins with all the African children doing the nice experiments. You know what I mean? All right, Truth Seeker, we'll leave it there. Till next time.